From the Blackstone Valley Historical Society. I'm walking you down right now to what we found is the Harris and an indigenous people's lot here over on Sherman Avenue. You can hear the traffic noise going by, so we're right on the side of 146. I'm doing this video so that you'll have a better way of walking down and enjoying this for yourself and seeing the beauty that's down here and just the incredible history. As I show you off to the side here, that's what we've still yet to clear. And there's more native burials that are back there. This was a huge burial ground. The middle one of three that extends from Lampercock up on Wilbur Road down through here and down to the end of the other end of Sherman. So as you can see, we've walked down this nice path here that's been cleared, and this is the path that I originally took coming down in here, and we cleared it better for people. Right here the path splits, so you can go this way down by the apple tree down into the indigenous cemetery, or you can go this way up toward what we feel is the original Harris settlement here. So the Harris family came down here, and they're the ones that operated the lime kilns. So we've got clearing here going on, and so I'm walking along the path, and as we walk along this path, we're actually walking on the side of the east-west orientated cemetery here. That's the Harris lot, and you can see that the stones are all facing the same way, and they point this way down toward where the clearing is. So I'm going to walk you this way, and we've got a break here, and you'll know right where you are because there's a break in the log here that you can get through, and you can see little flags. We've got more stones that we've yet to uncover. As you walk up here, this is toward the boulder that we feel is probably the edge of where their original house lot was. And they've got the only thing left of the house lot, because this would have been built before the 1676 conflict that burned everything here from this end of Rhode Island down to Providence by the Indians. So this would have been completely wiped out. And after the Indian War was over, the Harrises were able to expand much, much further into the now unclaimed Indian land. So at this point, they may or may not have come back and rebuilt the original house, but they definitely had a lot of places to choose from here. So as you come in here, you can see a general clearing, and then as you look this way, you're going to see off in the distance here the stone walls that were definitely cattle pen, and were actually the bane of the cemetery eventually, because the cattle came out of this penned area here, and they came down to the brook that's down at the bottom, and that's where they caused all the damage to the stones. So as you can see here, it's a very, very level area. It's obviously overgrown in 400 years. So we don't know what we're looking at all in here, but somewhere in here, if this was the settlement, then it was probably a well that's probably capped off. There may have been sheds here, different places. It wouldn't have been like mansions that we think of today, but it would have just been a simple home that would have held the original Harris family. So now we're walking from the boulder, and from the boulder, in their day, they would have had this would have been completely denuded. There would have been no trees, because they used all the wood here except for fruit trees for the lime kilns that made them their money. So everything would have been wiped out. It would have just been like flat and bare. So they could literally look right down into where their family's buried. So we realize now that the Harris is built on what was already used land. It was an Indian cemetery. So they just tacked onto the edge of that, and so they continued to bury here and used it for their family lot. So you can see what we've uncovered so far. These are the Harris burials. There's probably more clustered right in here, but at some point they ran into what would have been the native burials, which stretch all down this way, facing a completely different orientation, a southwest orientation. So right here we have the Lydia Harris stone. So if you're coming down and you're looking for this 1736 stone, you would be coming down right, and you can see my car right up at the top here. So it's easy to get to. You just come straight down the path that I'm pointing at right now, and instead of walking along that way toward the house, you would just come down that edge of the path, and you could come right down to the stone. And I've left it marked with a landscaping flag here for anybody that wants to go down and see it. Now, beginning here, you can see that the orientation is going this way, and you can see all these burials here. So I'm going to walk back over toward where we took the turn coming down the path. So we're walking back through the Harris Cemetery now. And now we're going to come into the cemetery that goes the complete opposite way. And you can see this here because right here is the Harris stones, and then down here is the stones going this way, and they're just huge. And these guys are just buried in straight lines. Everything's just laid flat out by the cows that came down eventually. I've been told that cows weigh up to like 1,600 pounds, so that explains a lot of the damage that's down here. So we can see a whole row right here that's just laid out right across here. And you can see going back across here, and literally there's hundreds here. And as we look back up toward the path, that direction up there is where we've yet to clear, and there's more stones up there that are mockers. And down here toward the brook, we've piled all kind of brush without realizing that we were probably covering over even more. And so as this work expands and we work from the known to the unknown, we come out to where we have tons more to find. So you come down to this big rock that's here, and you can see this right from up by the side of Sherman on the guardrail. This is a great place, great vantage place to view what's already been recovered here as far as the mockers. And I'm just going to give you a bird's eye view going across, and you can see how many mockers there are. And they go behind me down toward the brook. They just go right up to the brook, and we theorize that based on the colonial wall that you can see down on the side of the brook, before this was moved by the state when they built the road in 146 behind me, when they built this culvert, they demolished this side of the wall over here, but they left this side that was already there, and you can see the colonial work going all the way down. So our theory is that the colonists at some point diverted the brook from where it was down here. For what purposes, not sure. They may have created the pond that's down at the bottom, and then of course the brook loops back out and becomes the headwaters for the Massasoit further up. So you can see the stonework is down here. Because no way would the Indians have buried this close down to the water, because in the springtime this floods. So we're just like, why would there be burials down here right up to the water, unless it was after they had buried them, and then of course the colonists moved the brook. So you can see here from looking up from the brook toward the now partially recovered cemetery that we're looking at. Wow, just that's all I can say is just wow. I mean, everywhere we go, we're just pulling up stone after shaped stone after shaped stone. And I have found things down here, artifacts, that I put back inside the burials. The burials here are marked by a top stone and several anchor stones. So when you go and you look at the stones, and you can see by our posts that are there, you'll see that the stone is laid down, and there are several anchor or shim stones that are placed to keep the marker up in place. And so that's what we find. But underneath that is a large slab, and that's what we theorize underneath this body, because that's how in archaeological discoveries in the past they found that the natives buried their folk. They didn't want any animals getting at them and stuff, and so they would just put a slab over the top. So we don't go under that slab. All we're doing is trying to bring the markers up to preserve the fact that somebody is buried there. So I'm going to conclude the video here with just walking over to one of what we call the mocked stones here. When I take people down here and I give them a physical tour, and I would encourage you to come down and look at these, you come down to these stones where you can see actual tool marks that were made on the stones. You can see the hole here, the chip marks in here by the tools. This is where they would have gotten the markers from, at least some of the markers. And you can find these stones all through the cemetery. It's just ledge that's here, and you can see the working that's been done on them. And so you know when you touch these holes that the last person that was here touching these was late 1600s, or possibly native that was doing this, or earlier, or who knows, but it definitely is not modern. So you're touching something that's probably 400 years old, these marks. And so it's not just a rock. When you walk in the woods and you see these burial sites, you look at this and you're actually just stepping back to a time capsule. Isn't that incredible? And these are all through here. So I'm going to conclude the video here, and you can see that this is very close to the road. Everything is visible down here. And I encourage you to come down and walk and enjoy. Just be careful of all the debris that's from the places that we've chopped down wood and broken vines. And as you can see, we've got a lot more to go. We're hoping that we can get some folk down here to haul some of this wood away for us. There's a lot of good lumber here. You can see another pile over there, and there's a pile up on the highway, and there's a pile down toward where the settlement would be. So please come down and enjoy the treasure here. It's a time capsule. It's a walk back in time, and it's just a treasure that should be appreciated, preserved, and really a place that you can bring your kids down to, and you can step back in time. Imagine moccasin-clad feet, bare feet, breeches, colonial breeches that people were wearing, running around, and just marvel at the fact that they were able to move all these stones, do the walls, do the kilns, do all this with simple stone tools, and just, it's amazing. And they wanted their people mocked. They didn't want their people forgotten. So people are people, no matter what age they're in. And just standing here and listening, if you can drown out the traffic noise. But even with that, you're dealing with modern times intersecting with colonial times and pre-colonial times. And this is just a treasure, because when you stand in this spot, and I say this, cemeteries are the last open spaces, especially in New England. Everything else has been developed over. When you're standing in these grounds, you're standing on the same space that the people were standing in 400, 500 years ago. If you lay on your back and you look up at the sky, you're looking from the same orientation that they did. It's amazing. You can just step back here and just be in the last of the open spaces. So we need to preserve these. Thank you, folks, and thank you for supporting Blackstone Valley Historical Society and our work here. And I just, again, encourage you to come down and look at what's going on and look at the progress. And we're here. You can follow us on River Road site on the Facebook, and you can see when we're going to be down here. And please come down. We encourage you. We let you do some poking, and we show you how to just pull a stone up, and you can actually get your hands dirty with history. Isn't that incredible? So thank you very much, folks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.